into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, AfterBuzzers. It's Kylie Hodges. I am your host for the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt after show on AfterBuzz TV. We are recapping the finale, Season 1, Episode 13, Kimmy Makes Waffles. And I don't know if you noticed, but I am at this big old table all by myself because, unfortunately, the Black Plague has actually hit Los Angeles and wiped out a majority of the city, including my co-hosts, and I am a lone survivor. Another survivor is my engineer, John, in the booth. Thanks for engineering.
Hola, no problem.
I'm glad that we survived the Black Plague and we're quarantined here in the studio.
Well, I halfway survived.
Oh, so I guess I'm screwed. I've been exposed to a half survivor. Well, let this be my last time on AfterBuzz. Goodbye, world. Before I peace out, I'm going to recap Kimmy Schmidt finale. I would just like to say that this whole show has been a really fun experience to watch, and it always blows my mind how many jokes Tina Fey can cram into one episode, and even into 1 minute, because every single line of dialogue is a throwaway joke, and I love it. Normally when I'm taking notes for this show, I don't even really write down plot devices, I just write down the best quotes. So obviously, you know, this show is full of great one-liners, and I like to recap those quotes with my co-hosts, but I'm all by my lonesome, and I might just make John laugh at quotes with me. So here we go. John, you ready for this?
Sure.
He is so enthused that he's here listening to me recap Kimmy Schmidt, you guys. So the episode, this was like a two-parter. We left off on the last episode where Kimmy went back into the bunker with Gretchen, Donna Maria, and Cindy, and they found a safe that Richard Wayne, Gary Wayne, had in the bunker, and she figured out the code to it, opened it up, and there was a videotape. I know last week's predictions, I don't even remember what I predicted was in that safe, but I didn't guess a videotape, but turns out there was a tape in it, and the tape is just like the saddest, weirdest videotape of footage of the Reverend, like, advertising his DJ services and singing on the guitar. Basically, it's a bunch of crap, and so Kimmy's really frustrated because the whole reason they went into the bunker is to find evidence to prove him as guilty, and they got nothing. I would say my favorite moment in the scene, all the scenes in the bunker, was when we discovered that Donna Maria actually speaks English. And she's just been hiding her English skills because she's using her freedom from the bunker to promote her mole sauce, which is genius. John's giggling in the booth.
That was
I mean, you know, more power to the girl. She's got to maintain her brand, and if that means withholding English from the world, then si se puede, Donna Maria. She actually had one of my favorite quotes from this episode. She said, she can't speak English, just like Chef Boyardee can't let the world know he's a super gay guy. So finally, they realize that they're trapped in the bunker because Randy wandered off to save the mayor's kitten. And Kimmy decides they're going to try and find their way out through the air filter, so they're all standing on their knees. And Gretchen is just like the worst human being on the planet and loves being in a cult. So she was excited they were trapped in the bunker and wouldn't help them get Cindy to have cell service by climbing in the air filter to call for help. So the only way they get her to help is Kimmy compliments her by saying, "Have you been working out? Your wrists look amazing." That was pretty funny. Man, I miss my co-hosts. At least they giggle with me. If I laughed by myself right now, I would sound like a crazy person. Here, let me try it. My favorite line was when Kimmy tells Gretchen, "Your wrists look amazing." Oh, thank you, John. Suddenly I have so many co-hosts. They can't be seen on camera. Also, Gretchen's response to her wrists look amazing was, "I got a home crank." I don't know if anybody caught that, but you know, the big old crank they were turning in the bunker, she got one at home. Good for you, Gretchen. There's a lot of good one-liners in this scene. Also, Donna Maria gives attitude about not locking her knees while they're all standing on each other's shoulders in the air filter. And Kimmy says, "Man, Donna Maria, your work ethic has really gone downhill since you became an American." Oh, yeah. So good, right? So good. So, let's talk about Jacqueline and Lillian. So, Lillian is looking for Kimmy and Titus. She wanders into their apartment and sees a red feather duster and a black Magic 8 ball and talks to them like they are Kimmy and Titus, but at the same time acknowledges that that's not them. And she picks up the Magic 8 ball and says, "Titus, tell me where you are." So she goes to Jacqueline's house to look for Kimmy, and wouldn't you know it, Jacqueline is in shambles. She's been wearing the same dress for 2 days and showered in it, and the zipper rusted shut. Her hair is a mess, and the apartment is a mess, and she doesn't even know where all the garbage is supposed to go because the housekeeper's gone. So she thinks that the housekeeper's been eating it. She offers to make Lillian breakfast, and she takes like a egg, and she takes a meat cleaver and just starts bashing it. That might be like a modern, you know, like a trendy new egg dish out in New York, but I'm not familiar with the egg cleaver or the meat cleaver to the egg yet. But, you know, LA's catching up in the culinary world.
Slowly.
Yeah, we're slowly, but we're getting there. And we get a lot of flashbacks with Jacqueline. So we see that Jacqueline, when she was a crappy teenager back in was it South Dakota or North Dakota? One of the
They're both the same.
Yeah, don't ask someone who's from there. They won't say that, but yeah, I agree. And her dad gives her the keys to what she thinks is a car, but it's actually his tractor. And she's like super teenager-y about that. And then we see a flashback of Jacqueline giving her dad attitude when he gives her like a symbolic wheel with all the different colors on it that looks like a steering wheel, but it's just supposed to signify north, south, east, and west. And so Jacqueline and Lillian get in their car because they decide they're going to go look for Kimmy in Indiana. Neither of them want to drive. That's like a classic New York joke. Nobody knows how to drive. And so Jacqueline decides to drive. She gives the GPS attitude, and the GPS tries to drive her to a tampon store. Another good joke. We find out Lillian's family used to have sex with cows. Don't know what culture that's in, but if you guys know, please fill me in. Jonathan knows nothing.
That's weird.
He looks scared that I mentioned that. He's seen the show, but he forgot that tidbit because he looks a little nervous now. So Jacqueline and Lillian, they are lost in Brooklyn. They realize that they have no idea what they're doing. Or I'm assuming it's Brooklyn. It definitely kind of looked like Brooklyn. They're lost in the city. But then when Jacqueline remembers the directions of when the sun rises and sets, they are on their way, and they are headed to Indiana. But first, they encounter a school bus full of like high school marching band students. But there's a big banner on the side that says Townville Indians, and that lights a fire in Jacqueline of racism towards her people. So she just starts kicking the shit out of all these high school students. And Lillian joins in because, you know, Lillian's such a badass. She's scrappy. And I'd have to say my favorite part of that fight was when Jacqueline punches the drummer, and then she howls like a wolf. It was unexpected, I would say. It's good to see she's getting in touch with her roots, though. It was kind of like Twilight. They just turn into the wolves or whatever.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah. So then we got Titus's storyline. You know, he's famous now. His screw-up interview went viral, and his agent calls him, and his agent is like classic agent douche who only speaks in abbreviations. He says, "Can you go on Tosh on Com Sen?" I think he meant, "Can you go on Tosh.0 on Comedy Central?" And the fame has gone to his head a little bit. He tries to get interviewed by the reporter at the trial, and he leaves the interview by taking a phone call on his hand. It's like, "Excuse me, I have to take this." I would like to try that. I'm actually going to try that in my next awkward situation. I'll let you all know how it... What was that?
It's a perfect way to get out.
Yeah, it's a really valid way to leave a conversation. It's not weird at all. I will let you all know how it goes after I try it. The neighbor returns. We saw him in the very beginning, and he went viral, and now he's warning Titus. Famous double-edged sword. And Titus doesn't want to hear it because Titus dreams of fame. Meanwhile, all these things happen. Randy is stuck in a tree with the cat, and he decides to start his clothes on fire to signify help, which is a really weird idea, but it totally works because a firefighter picks him up and carries him all the way to the grate in the ground where the girls are trying to climb out, and they get saved from the bunker. And then the final chunk of the episode is the trial. So all these girls have to work with the evidence is the videotape, and they put it in, and Kimmy has no idea how they're going to get him, and then they realize that Richard Wayne, Gary Wayne, made an audition tape to be on The Apprentice on June 5th of 2006, which is the day before he predicted that the world was supposed to end. And if he really thought that the apocalypse was happening the next day, he probably wouldn't have auditioned for The Apprentice. I mean... John, if you knew the world was ending tomorrow, what would you do today?
If I knew it was ending tomorrow,
Yeah.
what would I do today?
Yeah.
Me being a fatty, I'd probably eat a
That
lot.
sounds great.
Just terrible food.
Yeah, I think I would definitely like go streaking. You know, I would do all the things that
Eat
like
while carrying a chili hot dog and
Yeah.
streaking
Yeah.
at the same time.
I think I would live the way Bill Murray lived in Groundhog Day. I don't think I would ever make an audition tape for The Apprentice, though. Even if it was going to be the best season ever where Omarosa comes back. I loves me some Omarosa. She was feisty. So, he gets booked. He's going to jail. And his line before he gets booked is, "If God didn't want women to talk, he wouldn't have made their mouths look so much like their privates." Oh, John Hamm. Even though you play a misogynist asshole on the show, I still love you. So then it's the end of the show. You guys, this is like what it's all boiled down to is Kimmy's love interest with Dong. She leaves the courthouse. She sees all of these missed calls from Dong. She picks up, calls him, and he's like, "Yo, immigration was looking for me, and now I had to marry Sonia from class." And Sonia's this crazy old lady who says, "Now it's our wedding night, and the birds are going to watch." Poor Dong. I feel so bad for Dong. And on top of that, Titus's wife, named Vonda, makes an appearance. Now, we have heard him accidentally reference his wife multiple times throughout the show, and this is her premiere. This is our chance to see that she's real. And she saw Titus's YouTube video and comes back looking for Titus because she thought he was dead. And then you see the neighbor down at the end of the street watching, tipping his hat to Titus, kind of like "I told you so, this fame is going to haunt you." And that's it. That's the end. Oh, my God. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that was the ending. How did you feel, John?
It was a while ago.
I know. But, like, don't you think that this is just my opinion. I thought the ending was going to be a little bit more of, like, on a higher note. Like, oh, my God.
I agree.
The Reverend didn't get booked, or he like breaks out and kidnaps Kimmy again.
I was thinking it was kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Towards the end.
But it definitely lends to plenty of plot devices for season 2, which we already know there was a season 2.
Agreed.
So I'm anxious. I think show to watch, and John and I were discussing before the show started that it's a fun show to just throw on and binge watch. You don't need to be thoroughly invested into it. It's not something you have to rewatch 1,000 times to really understand. So I think that this finale is set up for what will be a perfectly fun and enjoyable season 2. And I am going to make a prediction right now that Titus's wife You don't even have to roll the prediction soundbite. I'll do it right now. Predictions. There. How was that? Oh, and we got the leg. Thank you. I'm going to predict that Titus's wife, Vonda, we will see more of her in season 2. I want to see Titus living as a gay man married to a woman in New York City. and I want Kimmy and Dong to be together. I'm really sad Dong had to marry Sonia. And I want to see more Tina Fey cameo in that horrible, horrible curly wig.
You're going to get it.
Oh, yeah?
She's
You
gonna
think so?
step in. I believe so.
You think this is
somewhere.
the rest of the Reverend either?
I don't think so. I think somehow he's going to get out or something. Just to trigger it on, just to
Keep things
another
moving.
plot. Yeah.
I wonder if Kimmy will, like, I don't know, Stockholm Syndrome will kick in and she'll feel bad and go visit him in jail.
Something like that. I feel like he's going to continue on the show in some form or fashion. Like,
Yeah.
he's not done yet.
Well, no complaints here. I loves me some John Hamm.
Plus, it's John Hamm.
Exactly.
So I feel like they're not just going to throw that one in the wastebasket.
Yeah, he's a good cameo to throw in the show. Well, I can't believe that's it, you guys. It's been such a fun season. I'm really anxious for season 2. I cannot get enough of Kimmy and Titus and Lillian, Jacqueline and the gang. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. You can follow me on Twitter at the Kylie Hodges and Instagram, just at Kylie Hodges. You can also find me here at AfterBuzz TV. I do MTV's Finding Carter after show on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please keep watching AfterBuzz. We appreciate all of your support, and I'll see you guys next season. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.